Better late than never. And the same thing for Brock Purdy. He's back. We are here. We are finally here. Welcome back to the Coach's Huddle. It's your boy, the coach, and Tom. We're the Filmies family, and we are back for another scheduled installment of the Faithful Review. Hey, man, the energy has been against us. Tom, for some reason, the universe has been fighting against us doing this show, brother.
Yeah, it has tried its best. And fortunately, I finally arm wrestled and won against my laptop to get all this stuff to work.
Hey, man.
My apologies to everybody and to you, Coach. I'm sorry about this.
No, hey, man.
It's working now.
It is, man. Look, you know what's so funny is that my reputation precedes me because I know that everybody knew that it was me, the reason why these weren't going, because I regularly am shitting the bed and kicking the can when it comes to being on time. It is what it is, man. Coach got a lot.
Yeah, hey, wasn't Coach's fault this time. It's on me.
It is what it is, man. Let's move on into it, man. So there's a lot to talk about. We got Brock Purdy. We got Bosa being down. We got John Lynch talking about Brandon Aiyuk. We also got the Jags, which I believe is the most complete team that we're going to see, that we've seen thus far in the season.
Yeah,
so
agreed.
We're going to get into all of that stuff. We got a game tomorrow. I'm excited about it. The Jags come on over to face the San Francisco 49ers, which is our second home stand, which I love the fact that the boys get to stay home, actually, Tom.
Yeah.
And now I'm glad that we've also taken our time on getting the show together because we gotten contextualized news. Brock Purdy is back, okay? And that's what I want to cover. Brock Purdy has been down for the past 2 weeks in a row with turf toe soreness, discomfort, injuries, whatever you want to call it, but it's had him out. Mac Jones has been in his stead, carried the farm nicely, 2-0, and leaned on Mac, right? He wasn't just managing at times. He was the reason why we won. So let's get into it.
He's been clutch.
He has been. Let's get into it. What do you expect to see from Brock Purdy? What do you expect to see from Brock Purdy? And do you think he's ready to come back?
I'm not sure he's ready, but by reports, he's in better health than Mac Jones. So this is best option.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. But I think there are benefits to having Brock versus Mac. Each one has strengths and weaknesses. But in this case, it helps to have Brock as the more mobile quarterback in this matchup.
Mm-hmm.
Jacksonville is the fastest team in the league to pressure the quarterback. So you need to have some mobility. And then he's also great in terms of just his knowledge of the offense. He knows where everybody is. He knows where he can find them. Mac Jones had open receivers and check down because he doesn't know the offense as well. So having Brock out there is going to really help. I'm expecting good things from him, but I do fear re-injury because he's not 100%.
All right, so let's talk about that. If he's not 100%, what do you expect to see the first what's the first representation or what's going to be emblematic of him not being 100%? Basically, what do you see as far as Brock being able to come out and play with caveats due to him basically playing injured?
I think he'll be less interested in running and less aggressive. I would hope that he's going to be someone who is going to scramble, but then take the sideline earlier rather than challenge the defender.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that I want to see him do long-term anyway. But I think that he'll be cautious to protect the toe. And so he won't be as willing to run as he normally is. And he's not going to be as aggressive downfield.
One thing that we know about Brock is that he's great at processing. He knows the offense in and out. And part of what stood out with Brock early was his ability to create and extend plays, right? Not only was it a skill set that he has uniquely, but it was a stark contrast to what we were gotten accustomed to with Jimmy Garoppolo before him. Now we see him, he's really honed it in now. He's kind of, not only has he kind of taken over with the athleticism and the scrambling to get downfield, but Brock has become very exceptional at staying clean behind the line of scrimmage. Talk to me about areas of his game where Brock may have to stay in the pocket. Is there parts of Brock's game where if the athleticism isn't there in the pocket, if the quickness isn't there, right? Because
that's a problem. Yeah.
Foot,
if he doesn't have his 0 to 60 acceleration, that's a real concern.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, he's going to have to test the toe and then see what he can and can't do. So I would expect that he's going to open the game sort of in an experimentation mode where he's going to say, okay, what can I do without pain? What causes pain? And now adjust my game accordingly. So I think that we'll see some initial plays from Brock where it's just, can I do what I normally can? If not, then he dials it back. So he's probably going to be looking downfield and getting the ball out sooner if he has a problem running. And he's going to need to do that since Jacksonville is so quick to get to the QB. So he's going to have to modify his game. But I think he's going to have to learn in game what he can do and what he can't.
All right. So as far as learning what he can do and what he can't, that's one side of it, right? That's the Brock side of the game, right? Cerebrally understanding like what's his far left and what's his far right. Do you think that Kyle is going to be in lockstep with that, or is it going to be business as usual? Because one thing that we know about how Kyle runs his offense, and particularly the team, is that if you're out there, you're out there, right? He's not going to call any contingencies for you. He's going to call the offense as scheduled. Do you see Kyle being a little bit more nuanced coming into the Jags game? Now, before you answer that, I ask you that, but I want you to think about Mac Jones. I want you to think about what we've seen in the offense ran by Mac Jones, directed by Kyle Shanahan, that we necessarily haven't seen in years past, i.e. tempo.
Right.
Hurrying. I've been talking about tempo since they've done it. I am thrilled that they do it now. But it
helps the offense to get in a rhythm to play tempo.
Oh my God. It's cheap yards. You get to steal yards, man. You challenge the defense and seeing if they can do it on a certain tempo. But anyway, I digress. Not only that, but 2 minute.
That too.
Being very efficient in 2 minute, utilizing 2 minutes. So I ask you, Mac had a lot of swings at bat, right? I mean, I believe he had 45 dropbacks, 39 attempts against, what was that, New Orleans? I think he threw the ball 45 times against Arizona.
It's a lot.
Yeah, that's damn near 100 dropbacks in 2 games. Does Kyle dial it back, or is it business as usual?
I think he dials it back a little bit, because factor in the offensive line, I think, limited what he was willing to do in the run game, where he was more reticent to run because he saw what was happening, that Colby was still injured with the groin. Purdy was still having trouble. And so all of that factors into his thinking. And he didn't run the ball left until the fourth quarter against Arizona. And that tells us a lot about his faith in Trent. Now, hopefully he has more faith in them now that they have a week to get healthier and more shape. And I think that he's going to be testing that, is that his can I do this or can I not is going to be in the run game. That can I go left, and what can the guards do, and are they limited? And that's going to dictate what Kyle then does. Now, he'll have his script. I think his script will be more pass heavy than run heavy, but he's still going to need to test, what does my offensive line look like this week against a very good front line and 2 excellent linebackers? I mean, what can we do? What are we going to succeed with? And that's part of what the script needs to do anyway, is the script is basically testing the defense to determine what you can and can't do over the course of the game.
Right. You think, and one thing that I know is that Brock is There's gonna come a part in the game where he's gonna have to decide whether he wants to take the game over or let the people around him, assist him. Is there an element where, I mean, look, come on, man. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Brock just got paid. He's only played one game into his freshly new contract. And here comes a guy that is so well documented in how the coach wanted him, and comes in and gets damn near 100 dropbacks, and he's 2-0. Right now, Brock's facing the best team. And I got to be honest. I said this yesterday. I'll say it again. I'm pissed off if I'm Brock, because Mac took all of my Goodwill games. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Mac took,
Mac had the cupcake games, and now Brock has to play the real people.
Yeah, like Mac came in here.
The next 3 games are playoff teams.
Exactly. Mac comes in here and sees New Orleans and freaking Arizona. Right. I get Seattle off rip on the road, and then I get steaming Willie Beeman Jaguars coming in here with the number 3 rated rusher in the league, the number 5 rated overall offense. Like, come on.
It's a much better team. He has to be throwing up his hands saying, this isn't fair.
Dude, Travis
and the reaction is neither is life, dude.
Travis Etienne is ranked 3rd in the league in rushing. That defense is ranked number 1 in the league in takeaways, man. They got 7 picks on the year, dude. Like,
right.
What?
That's another factor for Brock, is that you've got a fast defensive line and a secondary with great ball skills. If there's one game where Brock cannot throw, where he's pressured and then he throws up a 50-50 ball into coverage, can't do it.
No.
He's got to be much more cautious with the ball. And I'm hoping, in a way, that the injury is going to make him cautious to begin with, and that's going to make it easier for his mindset to be cautious with the ball.
No YOLO balls.
None.
No YOLO balls.
Or that's getting picked.
Yeah. So I'll close it with this. Is there a world where Brock Purdy loses tomorrow, then he's got to turn right back around, see the Rams on Thursday, doesn't have a good performance, and then the rest of the world, including us, is screaming for a Brock Purdy, Mac Jones showdown?
I don't think so. I think I think it gets talked up in the media to a degree of saying that, no, what about this? But you have to factor in the competition. It's like you just said, that Mac Jones played cupcakes and Brock is playing playoff teams.
Mm-hmm.
And so if he loses the next 3, is that really on Brock? And he's also starting the next 3 knowing that the defense doesn't have Bosa. So is that fair in terms of a comparison, that Mac Jones played for 1.5 games of Bosa and Brock plays with the Seattle game only? You've got to factor in everything into the context.
It's trash, man. It's absolute trash. But I mean, everybody's got to.
It is, but people are going to say stuff. They always do. Social media being what it is, it's going to feed on itself. But Brock got paid. Brock's the franchise guy. Even if Mac has success, Kyle's going to put Brock out there if he's healthy and ready to play.
Let's not get fooled into what Kyle loves to do with quarterbacks that he just got his grubby little hands on. All right. He turns into Pepe Le Pew. All right. All right.
Great line.
I'm telling you. He's all of my love.
My love.
You're the greatest quarterback of all time, mademoiselle. Like, get out of here.
Yeah.
In 2 months, it's like, are you wearing that out?
Yeah, it is true is that Kyle is a player when it comes to quarterbacks.
Yeah. Meatloaf again.
Yeah. But after that contract, there's pressure for him to play Purdy.
Mm-hmm. There is.
Jed York is going to say, hey, why did we pay Purdy this much money to have him sit?
Yeah.
And so Kyle is probably not going to have a choice.
So, I mean, my biggest thing right now, as we close this out, is what do you think about Brock Purdy's comments on, how can I say this? I'm trying to grow, guys. Okay, Brock basically says, I'm not going to play if I don't look like myself, right? If I don't look like, in his words, if I don't look like Brock Purdy, I'm not going to play, right?
I didn't like the third person reference.
I didn't like the third person, man. What was that?
You got paid, but know your place. You're not someone to refer to himself in the third.
Yeah.
So
General Schwarzkopf.
That's what threw me. It wasn't so much what he said, but the third person reference. I just started shaking my head, saying, "Dude,
dog, no. What is that about, man?"
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, golly, old blood and guts over here.
But to your point, to your question, is Brock going to, at the last minute in workouts, just say, "I don't have it, I'm not ready," and it's going to be up to Mac Jones in that case to play. But the reports from Santa Clara are that Brock is healthier than Mac, and so Brock needs to play. Plus, the team kind of forced his hand when they took him off of the injury list and said he's cleared, he's ready to go. I think that in a way that's the organization kind of pushing him onto the field. If Brock then pushes back and says, "I'm not going to play," that's his right, and Kyle will respect it. But obviously, that's not what they want to see happen.
Definitely. I mean, my only thing is that, I mean, I hear talk like that, and I think I'm talking to like General MacArthur. Like, Jesus Christ. Like, I was waiting for Brock to pull out the corncob pipe. Like, good Lord.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I promised the Philippines I would return. Shut up.
Oh my God.
How'd he do? Not good.
I would tell you, man, shoot. My military school days, man, precede me. Because as soon as he started talking to himself in third person, I was like, first sergeant? Like, why is he talking like that? Anyway, let's move into our next topic, man. Let's get into it. The bright spot of the San Francisco 49ers so far has been the defense, without a shadow of a doubt. The mixture of veterans with youth, with depth, with new coaching has been an elixir. Just, I mean, a great melding of so many different people, of different football edicts, where you have Coach Saleh, then you have his mentor. I forgot who's the mentor that we have on the staff. He's with Coach Saleh. He was with Coach Saleh.
I didn't know he had a mentor.
So come on, dude. He was a defensive coordinator and a head coach. Gus Bradley?
Oh, Gus Bradley from Seattle, yeah.
Yeah. Gus Bradley's here. Yeah, sorry about that. Gus Bradley. I mean, honestly, the defense has been remarkable. They really have been.
Yeah, it's been amazing.
Yeah.
And that's a testament to the players being ready and Saleh tapping into what they do best.
And they want to play for him. My God.
Yeah, that's clear.
This is supposed to be a Nick Bosa topic, but let's just level on the defense for a second. Dog, do you know how well they're playing? And not only how well they're playing, but it is such a stark difference from last year. It's a complete turnaround, Tom.
Oh, absolutely. And they had to expect that. I mean, you're getting one of the best defensive coordinators in the league with a guy who shouldn't have had the job in the first place. So, yeah, there should be a turnaround.
Yeah.
But now we're seeing that because we can contrast that with last year, and last year is still in our memory, we can see just how much of a difference Saleh makes.
100%.
And it's phenomenal.
Yeah. One of the biggest things that I'll tell you right now that I love it also as well is that you're able to see just how all hands on deck they are. I mean, if you think about it, really common denominator of everything that Robert Saleh is doing is all for one and one for all gas, no brakes, reloaded, everybody surrounding the ball, swarm, GTFO. I mean, really all of it is everybody is a collective unit. We all contribute. If you're doing your job next to your brother, then we can't fail. Now, the defense has taken its first significant blow, which is the loss of Nick Bosa, out with a right torn ACL, done for the season. And I would love to know just your opinion on how do you think the Niners are going to take it? What next? Is there a wait and see element where we're going to see what we can do with in-house options? I tend to believe that they've already made some moves. I'm going to highlight that as well, especially cool. with the elevation of Robert Beal coming up from the practice squad. You would think that they would go for a veteran that we've already had with the 49ers in, what was that, Gibson? The edge that we have that's here. Oh, what's that kid's name? Anyway, so
I don't know, but what it says is bringing Beal up is that they're planning to use more bodies, which is smart.
Well,
because you have to have a greater rotation in order to make this work.
Well, not more bodies, but specifically one body, Samo.
Well, yeah,
I've been a huge fan.
I'm with you that Sam Aquanu is going to be the guy that they're going to have to ask to say, okay, you need to step into this role for us. And Samo's played really well. And so reward him for that and give him the opportunity, and let's see what they can do. I think their run defense will still be strong. Mm-hmm. Their pass defense is going to be a concern.
Right. Now, the biggest thing that I'd like for you to talk to me about is on pass defense. How do you think the Niners are going to go ahead and generate turnovers, pressures, and sacks ultimately? In today's league, you got to be able to play behind the line of scrimmage if you're going to be an effective defense. Now, we've been able to not only get it done, but be unique in finding ways to get there. The biggest thing for me is having that close out guy. That's what I love about what we've been doing in the last couple of games, because, we talk about the identity of this team, and it's still out there, right? And by way of injury and by way of survival, yes, we are more of a passing team. If we had it our way, would we be? I don't think so.
No.
But that's where we are. And because of that, I think that there are other things that really are emblematic of who we truly are. And one thing I love about us that we weren't last year, that we are this year, is that we are a 60-minute ball club. We play to the bitter end now. Don't look now, but now we're the team that nobody wants to play. If we get guys where it's like, oh, well, we don't play nobody. We don't blow anybody out.
Yeah. And then that's a reversal.
Because
they weren't the closeout team.
Yes.
And now all of a sudden they're 3-0 because they closed games out.
Right.
And that's 180, which is kind of okay. But in terms of the in-house solutions, Sam Aquanu definitely has to be a part of it. I would play Bryce Huff a little bit more, but the main thing is they're going to have to blitz. And so that's within simulated pressure and added blitz rate. Right now, their blitz rate is 28th in the league. It's 9.4%. Nick Wagner of ESPN Today had a great stat that without Bosa, the Niners take their blitz rate up to 31.9. If they do that, that's over Bosa's career. If they do that, then that's a 3x increase in blitzing. I don't know if Saleh is going to do that, but I think that he's going to have to if they don't put pressure on Trevor Lawrence. And if you can blitz him effectively, Trevor Lawrence has thrown a ton of picks where he's third worst in the league since 2021 at throwing interceptions against the blitz. So if you can make that happen, you're in good shape.
Yeah.
And I think Saleh's going to have to do that.
I was about to say, you took the words right out of my mouth. I don't think that's a suggestion. I believe that's an edict. It's more of a directive. He's got to be able to do that. Now, I said this more than once. I said, I don't believe that, the defense necessarily took a fall off or a drop off when Nick Bosa wasn't playing. I said that while I was watching the game and afterwards. Now that numbers have come out, I was completely fucking wrong. The pressure rate dropped immensely.
Dropped in half. With Bosa on the field against Arizona is 45. Without Bosa, it was 28.
Yeah. So by way of that, they're gonna have to keep blitzing. They're gonna have to keep blitzing. And one thing that I want to kind of set expectations for is if you get a lot of blitzing, something's got to come from somewhere. Meaning that if we're going to be blitzing a lot, guys, there's not going to be a lot of turnovers. They're going to have to be timely, and I mean picks. They're going to have to be timely picks. I believe that there's always going to be opportunities for us to play games and catch guys slipping. But if we're going to be blitzing half the time, I think we can hang it up on trying to get picks all over the place. What do you think?
Well, in this matchup, though, blitzing gives Trevor Lawrence trouble. So that's a possibility where it can still lead to a pick. But long term, I don't know if that's something that you can count on to generate turnovers. So, for this game, it's something that makes sense. But one of the advantages that Saleh has is he's got some good blitzers to work with. Upton Stout has proven he's a capable blitzer. Jason Pinnock, when he was with the Giants, blitzed pretty well. And D. Winters at TCU, when he was in a blitzing role, was really good. So those three guys are people he can lean on in the blitz, and he's going to have to. But I would expect that we're going to see simulated pressure looks where they're going to show 6, send 4, and the quarterback's not going to know where those 4 are coming from.
100%. Let's move into our next topic. John Lynch talks Brandon Aiyuk. So let's get to it. In recent conversations, John Lynch, general manager of the 49ers, made comments that Brandon Aiyuk basically is not close to being back for week 6, which would signify the end of his PUP designation for the physically unable to perform list, to be able to start and get back into start playing for the 49ers. Now, a couple of things. Number one, he did signify that this does not mean that there was a setback of any form. There hasn't been any. But it is level setting into understanding like where we are right now. And by week 6, we don't think that would be anywhere close to as far as the progression from when Kyle kind of quasi put it out there. I don't want to pin that to his chest. Kyle didn't officially say it, but he just kind of gave a TBD of 6 weeks, of week 6 rather. Now, with that, do you think that this is just all cards up? This is just straight up talk like, hey, we're waiting on our guy to get back and we're just excited? Or are the Niners waiting to make sure that Brandon Aiyuk is 100% completely healthy because they're going to try to shop him to get him out of here?
I think it's a mix of the two, that there's trying to sell a narrative of just business as usual. But at the same time, in the back of their head, they're saying, we want to showcase Aiyuk so that we can trade him. But is he going to be healthy in time for them to be able to showcase? The trade deadline is November 5th. Right now, it doesn't look like Aiyuk is going to be back by then. But Kyle has said pretty soon we're going to have a really good idea of exactly when Aiyuk can return. So then they'll know. Now, is that week 6? Is that week 8? Is that week 10? We don't know yet. But if he doesn't have the capability to play prior to the deadline, I think that they're then going to switch focus and say, we're going to wait until Aiyuk is 100% to put him on the field because they want to trade him. But in that situation, post-deadline, though, it's more about trading him after the season. And so they won't want to put him out there until he's 100%.
Do you think that they're over this, as far as the contract is concerned, with the emergence of Ricky Pearsall, understanding what they have in Demarcus Robinson? Now they've got another guy on their back who's actually kind of right there in Jawan Jennings. Not to say that Jawan Jennings is the same caliber as Brandon Aiyuk, but, if you're thinking about what Jawan Jennings wants, which is what Brandon Aiyuk ended up getting, I mean, Jesus Christ, the money's there.
Yeah. I think they want to move him. I think that the Yorks have said that we've got some contracts we do not like, and Aiyuk is one of them. Kyle barging in and saying don't trade him ended up being a huge mistake because Aiyuk could have been traded to Pittsburgh, and you could have got picked 20 in that draft. That's the big offensive line draft. You could have got a left tackle or a center in that draft. And now you're regretting that you have Ayuk's contract as an albatross around your neck. But my expectation is they're going to move him, if not by the deadline, that's going to depend on his health. Then at the end of the season, they'll try to move him, and they're going to have to hope that he's healthy by then. And so I think that's why they'll be more cautious that if he can't play prior to the deadline, they're going to wait after the deadline to make sure he's 100 before he plays.
Yeah, I believe that as well. I at this stage of the game, I don't believe that it has anything to do with assets either. I think that assets play a part into it, but I purely believe that this is just the price tag. They're not willing to pay anybody at this clip, especially at the receiver position, for the productivity that they're getting out of them thus far and the availability, quite frankly.
That too.
Yeah.
But the other thing is that the key thing with Aiyuk was that he was a triple threat in that he gave them a lot of different looks in terms of what he could do at receiver and as a blocker in the run game. But now you've duplicated his impact as a receiver with Pearsall, and you still got Juwan Jennings signed. So you've got the run blocking from a receiver, and you've got the receiving component. So even though it takes two players, they've got what they previously had from Aiyuk. They can
And
let
don't
him
look
go.
now, Jordan Watkins.
Yeah, and we don't know what Watkins is going to be or when he's going to play. It's going to be a while, but hopefully, based on what he looked like in the preseason, I think he's a player.
Yeah. I believe that the in a sense, I kind of feel, do you feel like in a sense, Brennan, that you kind of played himself out of a position?
At least here, but I don't think he's played
Yeah.
himself. Yeah.
Yeah, here. That's what I mean.
Right. But there's plenty of teams that still value somebody because of his versatility, that he's a great blocker and a great receiver, and he has that physicality, and he's got productive stats in his history. They won't have a problem trading him provided that he's healthy. He has to prove his health. Then the Niners can get something. But they're not going to get anything close to what they would have got from Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh would have given him the 20th pick in the best offensive line draft in over a decade, and Kyle prevented it. And that sucks. And still hurts. Now, part of the problem with the run game this year is that because they haven't invested in the offensive line this year, that has come due.
Yeah.
They were a year too late on this, and that Pittsburgh trade would have corrected that.
Well, all of the trades that they would have done it's always a correction. I mean, all right, man, this isn't even a topic, but
sorry.
The only contingency that I have from 2025 to 2024 draft, which was the greatest offensive line draft of all time, is that that draft was so potent that we ended up getting scraps and found a starter.
Yeah.
And Dominic Purdy.
It says everything that Purdy went later. And, and he's still, oh my God, we've got Dominic Purdy.
Right.
I mean,
so
imagine if you had spent a first rounder instead,
Now
at center. Imagine if you had one of these guys at center instead of Brendel.
Well, see, this is why you're my guy, because you're walking right into what I want to talk about. So right now, the offensive line is an issue, right? And it's not necessarily, it's compounded by a lot of different things. It's the running backs, it's CMC not being the same, it's the guards, it's Jake Brendel, it's Kyle not mixing in Brian Robinson Jr., it's Nuts not seeing where the hell is Jordan James at. It's a lot of things. So I'm not trying to pinpoint just one thing. However, you can only aim small, miss small. You can only make a couple of moves in the season that hopefully would help you in a huge way. Now, I am under the impression and under the thought process that we don't need to go get a pass rusher, right? We have what we need in-house. And
well, let's see that play out.
Okay. And for offensive line, the reason why offensive line sucks is because it's such a valuable position, and you rarely get anybody mid-season that's worth anything, right?
Because supply and demand is so limited, no team is willing to part with somebody unless it's like a contract dispute.
And they're idiots. So one thing that is really hurting us in the run game that I think will lift, a rising tide lifts all boats. I think that one guy that we could get that would help everybody is a new offensive lineman, just getting a guy in. And there is one guy that is out there right now, in my opinion, Jackson Powers Johnson, the center from the Raiders, the Las Vegas Raiders. Right now, he has been benched by none other than good old Chip Kelly. Okay.
Yeah. Which, dude, know your talent.
No. The guy in the room, bro.
Unbelievable. And JPJ has proven that he was a great center last year.
And it's only because JPJ can't run this cockamamie offense that Chip Kelly is asking him to do. dog, if there was ever a time for us to be able to right the wrong and pick up somebody in that draft who would help us, what would you say about picking up Jackson Powers Johnson?
Oh, I'd love it. And I love the irony of Jackson Powers Johnson is from Oregon and Chip Kelly says he can't play for me.
Come on, man.
What is this? But anyway,
yes, he did get benched.
Is that something that they should pursue? Yes. Here's the problem. Davis. The owner hates the Niners. Khalil Mack was up on eBay for the entire NFL. The Niners made the best offer, and Davis said, nope,
no,
you're the Niners, not doing it. So anytime props to you for identifying this. You're absolutely right. Absolutely 100%. Mark Davis won't allow a trade to the Raiders.
Do you understand how much that would help us? Like,
night and day.
Both the guards.
Yeah.
If both the guards would be helped tremendously by getting Jake Brendel out of there and putting in. If we got Jackson Powers Johnson, that would be phenomenal. It would help the run, the pass game, everything. Christian McCaffrey will be able to actually run in between the tackles. It would help so much.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be. Yeah, it's not a rising tide lifts all boats. It's a rising tsunami lifts all boats in terms of what you would get in impact. JPJ over Brendel is just magnitudes.
Yeah.
So props on the idea. I'm with you all the way. But Mark Davis says not doing that.
I would love that to happen. I just wanted to stick that in there, just throw in like
a great
comment.
Great.
Hey, let's get a super chat out of the way. Shout out Q, thank you. What is Aiyuk worth now? Is the offensive line draft good next year? We need a better line. Who can we trade before the deadline, and what would it cost us? So that's my biggest thing right now is that I would love to pick up Jackson Powers Johnson. I'm glad that you put that in there because that's who I would love to go get. Right now, you don't get offensive linemen of his caliber. Even in free agency, he would sit us down. Like, we couldn't afford him in free agency.
No. Given our budget of what we're willing to spend on offensive line, no.
In free agency, we could not afford him.
Yeah, to answer Shiloh's question, offensive line next year, there's 3 tackles that I think they're going to look at. Caleb Lomu from Utah, Isaiah World from Oregon, and Trevor Gooseby from Texas. Gooseby's really fast. He's run 25 on the GPS. He's got the speed Kyle wants, so he's probably going to have an awesome combine. And when you have that great combine numbers, Kyle gets interested. So I think Gooseby's a possibility. I think World is the most complete of those. Lomu is, he's not Fano, who's the top tackle at Utah. Lomu's the number 2 tackle, but they're both first rounders. So those are the guys. Who could they trade for in the deadline? I don't think Aiyuk is tradable now because you wouldn't get enough back since he hasn't proven his health. You would get a 5th rounder or a 6th rounder if you offered Aiyuk now. And they have to wait until he can prove his health, and then he can get more in line of what the Niners would try to get from him now.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from with Caleb Lomu, man. Bookend tackle, really like what you're talking about, especially coming in from Utah, but also too out of Iowa. I was looking at my list that I have right now. Jennings Dunker is somebody else who I like a lot out of Iowa.
They do a great job of line coaching.
Yeah. I think Caden Proctor and Spencer Fanu a little too rich for our blood.
Proctor isn't the kind of player that Kyle wants. Kyle doesn't draft mountains.
True. Francis Mauaga. The offensive
more of a
tackle.
guard, in my opinion, in the league. I don't think he's going to be an NFL tackle. I don't think he can play on an island.
Hey, let's move into our last topic, man. So, Jags prep. Let's get to it, brother. How do you feel about the Jags? Let's just kind of get into the tail of the tape. So, off rip, we've got the San Francisco 49ers facing the Jacksonville Jaguars. The number one thing that you got to understand right now is that we're facing 2 teams that expectations have pretty much been all over the place. If you really look at it, we've been seeing how The Niners have been 3-0, really coming in and just basically scratching and scrounging to be able to get to the game, to be able to get wins. The Jags have kind of been on the other side of that. They've been dominating a couple of teams, especially through defense, and their offense has been following them. We're looking at one of the top 5 rated offensive rushing threats in the NFL. We're looking at the top 3 rusher overall in the NFL right now at Travis Etienne. I think he has at least just under 3 bills for the season out of 3 games at 2-1. This is an offensive line that loves to run the ball. And on top of it, they're a run-first team with a very talented thrower in Trevor Lawrence, who, don't look now, is one of the first overall picks that's actually still with his team. So for better or for worse, all right, say what you want about him, at least he stayed home, all right? And they've paid the man. Now, if you look at what they've got as an offense right now, there are some of all parts as far as passing is concerned because they lead the league in drops, all right? That's what they do. They drop the ball ad nauseum. And if it ain't the tight end, it's the receivers. If it ain't the receivers, it's the running back. Everybody drops Trevor Lawrence's passes, and we're hoping to continue the trend this Sunday when we see them.
Some stats on that just to add some perspective.
Let's go.
12% of Lawrence's passes are dropped. 19% of Lawrence's passes in the red zone are dropped. A third of his incompletions are due to receiver drops. So this group has a bad case of the drops. Reportedly from Jacksonville, that was the focus this week, was that Liam Cohen was telling his receivers, you got to attack the ball, you got to catch it with your hands. You can't basket catch this stuff. Let's see if that plays out. But the drops are huge. The drops are a big factor into why Lawrence's stats suck.
Yeah, I mean, just to kind of put a little bit more sauce on it to help you out, right now, as far as the drops are concerned, 19% of red zone passes of Trevor Lawrence are drops. The offensive line, best test for the 49ers without Bosa, the pressure rate, like we already talked about, 45.5% with Bosa and 28% without. But as far as the drops are concerned, Brian Thomas Jr. leads the NFL in drops at 20+% drops. Out of all of the percentages, out of all of the throws that he's been targeted this year. So right now, I don't get it. I wish I could.
Me either. He's a talented receiver, but my God, just opposable thumbs sold separately.
Yeah,
7 catches and 25 targets.
Yeah, it's unreal. Some of the things that I would love to also look at is just what we have with these teams as far as matchups. So when we're talking about the defense, right, and we're looking into the Jaguars, this is going to be the second-ranked defense in the NFL right now. They're a stingy bunch. They're ranked first in turnovers, like we've mentioned earlier in the show, with 7 picks on the season. They've got a hellified group up front as far as their front 7 is concerned. Primarily right now, if you look at how they're led through their team, the biggest things right now is their defense. Ranked 73.2 overall on PFF, always ranked high. What do you think about this Jaguars defense?
It's going to be tough because they, again, are the fastest to pressure. That's going to have an impact on Purdy. You've got a very fired up Eric Armstead for this game. He is going to be pumped. He has 1.5 sacks in the year. He's facing Jake Brendel. If the Niners try to run inside, Eric Armstead's going to say, hi, remember me? So he's going to have a game, I would expect. The problem for the Niners is Kyle's offense, as we've talked about before, is based on the assumption that no team has more than one great linebacker. Jacksonville has 2, makes it harder to throw to CMC because you've got fast linebackers that can track him. You can still get completions, but you're not going to get the same yardage you have so far from Christian. So that's a concern. And then their back 4, great ball skills. Travis Hunter, two-way player, wide receiver DB, he's got the ball skills. So you've got a lot of players that you have to worry about where it's just, this is a defense with no weaknesses. That's the problem, is that how do you exploit this team? So I think that given the pressure being that quick, Kyle is probably going to look for a horizontal game where it's quick throws from Brock. Get the ball out wide and move. I think that's going to be the game plan, or slants, but a lot of quick throws for Brock. Yeah,
the biggest thing for this defense right now is that they're fast. They all fly around the ball. Not only do they have good interior, but exterior on the edges, man. You got Josh Hines Allen, as well as Trevon Walker on the outside right now. And then, like you said, this is something that's rare, but don't look now. But when these guys throw 3 DBs on the field, which is Travis Hunter, Campbell, and who's the other guy? Jordan Lewis. That's when you're looking at, it's not the DBs, but it's Olukun, the linebackers, and the other guy that they have, Lloyd. This. Would you say this is the best defense we faced this season?
I think so. In terms of when you break it down by all 3 levels, there's no weaknesses.
Right.
Seattle has great stats, but the Niners were able to pick on Reek Woolen. So Jacksonville doesn't have that player where you can just target that guy and say, we can beat him.
Yeah.
They don't. They're solid in all 11 players. That's part of what makes them so good, is that there's no breakdowns.
One thing that I like to talk about is X factors, guys that necessarily don't come up on the starting 22 of what they have, but are conscientious contributors, right? And one guy that I believe is going to be an X factor for the Jaguars when we see them this coming Sunday is Bashul Tootin, running back rookie out of Virginia Tech. This guy is a burner. And one thing about him is that they let Travis Etienne beat up on the offensive line. Beat up on the defensive line. They slow things down with a pace, but when they want to change a pace and they want to speed things up and kind of hit you when you're not looking or hit you with a shock jock, it's Bashul Tootin. This is somebody who they got to watch out for. Talk to me about anybody who's kind of come across your radar where, they're not really in the lights, but they're a big contributor behind the scenes.
Yeah, well, I think you're right on the X factor. It's Tootin. That somebody with that level of speed, you get him the ball in space, boom, gone. And that's a problem. The Niners can swarm, but if you've got a player that's that fast, he can outrun the swarm. That's how fast this guy is. And Etienne also is plenty fast. He's just not as fast as Tootin. But if I would say that the hidden factor with Jacksonville, it's speed. But the guy catch the ball, and that's what's held them back so far. If they catch the ball, off they go. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, I think that Tootin on offense is the X factor for them.
Yeah. Now, one of the biggest things that I've seen coming in with them also is their ability to play 60 minutes. This is also a team that, we have that as well, and I mentioned that earlier in the show. But this is a team that actually has had to be scrappy and win some games as well. Who do you think is going to rule the line of scrimmage? And as far as the coaching element is concerned, who do you think is got the one up right now? Is it Coach Cohen or Coach Shanahan?
I think Cohen has more talent to play with because Kyle doesn't have everybody healthy.
Right.
And to my thinking, Kyle has had a lack of trust issue. That's why we're seeing CMC getting 32 of 62 touches. Yeah. Hopefully with DeMarcus Robinson coming in, the offense will be more diversified this week. That's certainly my hope. But Kyle also needs to break out the running game and go by committee more than he does. Because I had some CMC stats to share here. I know that you went at it with Chunderboy this week, and that was fun to watch. But so here's some key stats with CMC.
Okay.
2023 yards after contact 2.2, 2025 0.8. 36% of the 2023 level. That's a big concern because that's mainly him. Part of that is still the offensive line creating holes, and then they can run past that and go. But part of that is just Christian's lost a step. 2023, long of 72 and 65. 24 and 25 combined, long of 19. And then in the red zone, this is the one that's an absolute killer. 13 carries for 7 yards. 7.
Niners don't have a rushing touchdown this season. We're going into week 4.
And that's why. Because they don't have a runner like Jordan Mason or somebody that's just a sledgehammer. And their offensive line isn't getting as much push. So one of the big keys to this game is the offensive line has to get better because they're going to need to get that rushing touchdown because Kyle is prone to calling runs in the red zone. And if you keep going with McCaffrey, That's literally running into a brick wall. You've got to give the ball more to Brian Robinson, and I'm still mystified why Jordan James isn't on the roster.
Yeah. I'm mystified at that as well. All right, man. Hey, it's time, man. No romance without finance, so you got to give it up. Give me your prediction.
Jacksonville 27-23. And the reason I say that is I think that their receivers will catch enough. And I think the Niners are going to have trouble scoring in the red zone. And I'm expecting Liam Cohen to finally start throwing the ball downfield, given that the Niners are so weak at safety. That it's an obvious weakness he has to target. So I'm expecting him to throw more downfield. Against Houston, he had to throw short because their D-line's so great. Against the Niners, he doesn't because without Bosa, we've already talked about what the pressure rate drops to. So Lawrence is going to have time, and that means he can throw downfield. And I think that's the adjustment Cohen's going to make. And I think that's the difference in the game if, and it's a big if, their receivers catch it.
I got the Niners losing 28-14. I just don't believe in this offense. I believe that there's been a lot of things that are different with Mac Jones being here. Kyle has been able to open up the offense a little bit more just by way of taking him out for a spin. But I believe that when Brock gets back in, Kyle's going to get back into his old modus operandi of how to move the offense. Let's not forget about what this offense looked like in week 1.
Yeah.
Let's not forget
and that's a good parallel because Seattle has the solid front four.
Exactly. Let's not forget about what we looked like against a team that had a front four, okay, that could stop the run. Guys, I hate to put it to you. I love being 3-0, but the Saints ain't it. Okay?
Yeah.
Beating the Cards ain't it. I hate to do that.
Especially when James Conner went down.
When James Conner went, come on, man. Are we going to bring up the elephant in the room that James Conner going down effectively changed the entire motivation and the momentum in the entire game? Like, come on, man.
That was an absolute killer for them, and they didn't recover.
Yeah. I'm telling you, the Jags. And you know what? I am so glad you said this, Mitchell and S. The Jags ain't it either. They are just a complete team. That's it. So remember this.
Well, the thing I would say, I'm sorry, Coach. The thing I would say to Mitchell and Ness is don't confuse last year's Jags with this year. There's a huge difference.
Yeah, teams got younger, deeper, better, but they got better.
Yeah.
So
and they got much better coaching.
Yeah. I'll tell you, man. I think that the defense is going to fight hard. Like they're going to fight hard, and it's going to be a close game for a while. Come on, man. We know how this is going to go. The offense is going to sputter. They're going to have one good drive opening up. They're probably going to get 3 and out if they don't score. Or, I mean, they're probably going to get a field goal if they don't score. Then it's going to be quick our offense out the game, quick 3 and outs. Defense is going to struggle. And then finally, when the offense wakes up, the defense is going to unravel at the end. So that's the way I see it.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, but we both have Jacksonville winning, basically. And there's good reasons why. They're a more complete team. Their offense does not give up any sacks, and now you don't have Bosa. What's that going to do in the impact of Jacksonville's offense and what Liam Cohen calls? I think that's going to be a key factor in it. Their defense doesn't have any holes. Their defense picks off the ball, and their defense is quick to pressure the QB. So if Brock throws 50-50 balls, those are picks.
Yeah.
That's going to be another factor in this is turnovers and red zone. Niners are 16th on offense in the red zone. Jacksonville is 8th on defense in the red zone.
All right. Hey, look, I love this because I love our fans, bro. I love my brothers in arms, bro. They going hard. You know what I'm saying? Look, so speaking of this, I like this comment. Kyle Shanahan is the offense genius or Liam Cohen. So let's go ahead and get into the last topic. I got a sneaky topic for you.
Okay.
Salah's comments.
Oh, yeah.
Coach Salah recently came out and all but, talked about what seemed to be, garden variety across NFL circles that teams, tip and try to their best to steal signals and figure out what other teams are doing. But tell me, man, what do you think about him saying that he knows that Liam Cohen has not only do they steal signs, but they have a specific way of stealing signs and that he'll be ready for it? What are your thoughts and comments?
I'm not sure that's something you should broadcast.
Yeah.
I think that's something you keep in house.
Yeah,
and
he did say
for.
legally. Thank you, Steve-O. Thank you.
Yeah, Steve-O's right. And it's also giving them motivation. I don't think that's a good thing either. So I think Saleh would have been better off just not saying that.
Mm-hmm.
In a way, it's paying a compliment to their coaching staff and their prep, but at the same time, and Kyle tried to make that point, but I just think you're better off just not saying it at all.
Right.
Just be prepared for it and face it and go. One other thing I'd like to mention from the comments, a lot of people saying Trevor Lawrence isn't it. He's not.
He's not. I agree with that.
He's the second leading thrower in terms of first read throws. That's been his problem since Clemson. He has not solved that yet. Here's my counter to that, though. If Cohen throws intermediate, he's throwing against the safeties. Siegel, 142 quarterback rating against. Pinnock, 123. So he's going to be throwing to open receivers, and he's going to have all day to throw. That's the problem. That's my concern.
I want to be wrong.
I get that Lawrence isn't that great, but can we cover them? And then on the Jacksonville side, can they catch it? But I think that's the problem for the Niners is you don't have Bosa. You've got 3 of your 4 DBs or secondary that can't cover that well. Liam Cohen's going to go after that.
All right. So let's go with this. Before we get out of here, we've already talked about the reasons why the Niners will lose. Let's get into the reasons why the Niners would win this game.
Okay.
Number 1, no turnovers. That's got to be key.
That has to be. Brock has got to be very careful in
football,
this.
Man.
7 picks in 3 games says be smart.
Yeah. This is huge. No turnovers in this game. That's key number 1 for me. Key number 2, can we find a way to get 80 yards rushing? Not 100. I just want 80 yards rushing. I don't care how we get it. I don't care if it's from the quarterback, the running backs, end around screens, but we need some resemblance of a run game, some threat to open up the pass. I need 80 yards rushing. All right.
Yeah. And I think part of that is that you have to hope that the guards are healthy.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to hope that Trent has proven himself in practice to the point where Kyle is now going to be willing to run left. Mm-hmm. Part of the predictability problem isn't just that he's always giving it to CMC. It's that he's running right. And so the offense, if there's one word for the offense in this game, it's diversity. You have to give the ball to more backs. You have to spread the ball around to more targets. You've got to use the entire field. And that's going to be the key for the Niners in winning this game is that Brock has to get the ball out before the pressure arrives, and he has to be smart with the ball. And Kyle has to be willing to trust more people. Trent, Demarcus Robinson, Brian Robinson too. All those guys need to play a bigger role than they have.
Does Kyle go vertical in this game? Now that Brian Robinson's in? Demarcus Robinson?
I don't think so, but I think they'll take some shots. He'll at least take a few. But I don't think that it's going to be a part of the game plan, though. I think the game plan is horizontal.
I love this comment.
It is. Oh, and that's part of why Armstead was gone. But he's still been successful in terms of his production in Jacksonville this year.
Mm-hmm. Hey, man. Roll Tide. This is going to be a good one. UGA versus
Enjoy that
Bama.
one, Coach.
What do you got stacked up for the rest of the day, man?
I'm just kicking back. I've got some things I'm working on. We're writing in the novel, writing some music, which is fun, and working on those 2. So that's my weekend basically is writing.
Hey man, we got to collab with some music, man. You know what I'm saying? I think me and you would go ahead and get down and do some things. So look,
that'd be fun.
Hey, I'm watching UGA and Bama today. Going to see DeBoer. You better get your act together. So we got to see how that plays out, man. And then tomorrow, guys, you already know, be on here for another live watch show party, the San Francisco 49ers versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. I will be calling the game in the new coaches huddle headquarters out of the studio live.
Looks great.
Thanks, man. Thanks, Tom. Hey, man, I told you guys we'd have something special for this year. We are calling the game out of the new studio. We got tons of things for you guys lined up for the game tomorrow. Live commentary. The sound effects are back. I got comments lined up. Right. So it's going to be a live show tomorrow, and we're going to have a blast, man. But, hey, signing off. This is the coach and Tom. Stay low and keep your feet moving.
Your feet moving.
Holla at y'all.